You know what keeps me up at night?
Wolfenstein on the Game Boy Advance.
Now, considering what other first-person shooters were on the Game Boy Advance around the same time, you'd think that putting Wolfenstein on there would be mad child's play.
Apparently not. This Game Boy Advance port of Wolfenstein was developed by Stalker Entertainment, a game development team that only ever worked on this one title. And this game development team was only made up of 2 different people.
Sounds promising.
I should also mention that this is a direct port of the original MS-DOS version of Wolfenstein, which means that any changes made to more modern versions, such as the extra weapons or map system, do not exist in this port.
Now, let's talk about why I think this port is bad.
This port contains all 60 levels from the original Wolfenstein, along with all the bosses and the 4 main weapons, that being your trusty pistol, this MP40 looking machine gun, and of course, the chain gun. Or you can just go around stabbing people British style.
So this is all the content from the original Wolfenstein. Why is this Game Boy Advance port so bad? Well, I think there's 3 different reasons. Number 1, there's no background music.
Which is something I find pretty inexcusable because even Doom and Serious Sam on the Game Boy Advance both managed to have music in their levels. Now, to be fair, there are a decent amount of first-person shooters on the Game Boy Advance that didn't have music, but this game is far simpler than those other first-person shooters.
Number 2, the resolution is
The resolution to Wolfenstein is terrible, with the enemies and objects tending to look very similar from a distance. This can also make finding keys very challenging at times.
And at number 3
is the game's frame rate, in which case, it just doesn't really run that well. Now, credit where it's due, this port of Wolfenstein wasn't censored like the Super Nintendo version was, and is technically exactly the same as the original version, all the mechanical issues aside. And they even kept all the violence in it, such as the death cam, and the Führer's ugly mug. Wolfenstein on the Game Boy Advance really just feels like a very hasty port, and the fact that it came out near the end of the Game Boy Advance's lifespan isn't really doing it any favors either.